Give it some time for the notifications to go out. As usual, we go through this twice a week. Super excited about the topic today. Here we go. Let's see. Hello, hello, hello. Come on in. Hello, Search Tom. Looks like there's some potential connection issues and notification issues going out, so we're about to get started. I'm going to go ahead and put on my Do Not Disturb. There we go. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome. Come on in. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Heather. Most people call me Nookie. My pronouns are she, hers. I am the founder of Dating Kinky and Curiouser.life. In addition to living my best, authentic life, I write books, I teach classes, I run workshops like this one about love, sex, romance, and of course, kink for people of all genders, relationship statuses, orientations, and more. I have explored the world when it comes to love, sex, and romance, and luckily I've had amazing partners. So I've been able to dip my toes into many facets of sexuality in loving and creative ways. And all of my experiences thus far have led me to the belief that boundaries, our topic today and our topic for the past couple of months, are the key to not only saving ourselves, but our relationships. Boundaries are what take us from getting by or merely average to healthy, loving, strong, and fan-fucking-tastic. So let's get started. I'm going to kick us off real quick with an introduction to my boundaries book and how I'm writing it. And there we go. Right there. Oh, there we go, right there. I'm writing my new book, Boundaries Are Sexy as Fuck, right now, chapter by chapter, and posting them live. You can get access to that live write as I write and post each chapter by registering for the Take No Shit workshop that began last Monday, October 17th. Just about to head into the next week's worth of lessons. And week one has been fabulous. So it's not too late to join us. In fact, it's never too late to join us because you can take each lesson at your own pace. So welcome to you, Sir Thomas. Hello, Sabyasachi. It is always a pleasure to see you. And hello, Kaki Sander A. A pleasure to see you as well. How is everyone doing today? Are you doing good? Kaki says, as a submissive, masochistic, sissy slave, I need boundaries. You know what I'll tell you? Everyone needs boundaries. I don't care who you are or how you identify. Good, healthy, strong boundaries are key to building successful, healthy, collaborative relationships. Period. End of story. Sabyasachi, happy Diwali to you. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Sir Thomas, flattery. I like it. Okay, so I'd like to start off real quick with a content warning today because I'm going to be talking about unpleasant violence as a way to make my point. So be aware of that. And if you feel the need to um, hop off for a while, to look away, to go into the other room in order to maintain your mental balance, please do. Because I don't want you to feel harmed by my words. For what it's worth, the violence I'm going to be talking about is entirely hypothetical. So it's not going to be incredibly detailed or hopefully too triggering. But I did want to start off that way so that you have um, an option for informed consent. So, heading into it. I often like to ask shocking questions in order to make my point. So, as the title of today's live might have warned you, one of those questions is, have you ever wanted to kick a puppy? Another one is, have you ever wanted to punch a child in the face? And when I ask questions like this, I get some really horrified looks. And some people actually like sort of physically shy away from me. Like I've just morphed into like this huge, heinous monster right before their eyes. And in addition to looking horrified, every single person that I've ever asked these questions of has answered no. Now, don't get me wrong. There's always those few that'll joke about wanting to like wring their kids' necks, right? But it's obviously a joke, and it makes them feel really uncomfortable just to even consider. So I'm asking you, have you ever wanted to kick a puppy? Have you ever wanted to punch a child in the face? What do you think? No? Great. I mean, obviously, that's the answer I'm looking for. I didn't actually doubt it. I just feel like it's important for you to consider your answer for me in order to make this point. Because the next question is really based on that solid no. So, real quick, let's go over that again. If you ever wanted to kick a puppy or punch a child in the face, not by accident, not when you were a child, but intentionally as an adult. I'm going to guess your answer is still a good solid no. Not because no one does, but because you're here. And you're the kind of people who want to build more love and connection in your life and who are obviously willing to do the work. And because the kind of people who kick puppies and punch children are two separate circles in a Venn diagram. So let's look at these circles actually, because I've got a graphic here that I'd like to share with you. So here you go, right? You've got the circles of you, people who read this book, in the case of the Boundaries Are Sexy as Fuck working title book, and then the not you, the people who want to kick puppies, the not you, the people who want to punch a child, and there's probably a little bit of overlap there with the people who want to both kick puppies and punch children, right? And over in the you section, there might be people who punched kids when you were kids, right? And there's probably people who have accidentally kicked a puppy, like really on accident, right? Like the puppy got in the way, you accidentally kicked them as you were trying to go downstairs, whatever it is, right? different types of people. And here's the thing. You have not kicked a puppy. You have not punched a child, because those things are anathema to you, right? They're repugnant. They're just so I'm glad you said that, because that makes you my kind of people. But we already knew that. So moving on. Here's the thing though. Would you consider doing those things if you got really, really angry? Now, Sir Thomas mentions I wouldn't kick a puppy, but a dog if it was attacking. Absolutely. Absolutely. 100%. Sure. But if you just got really, really angry, furious, or enraged, would you take it out on a puppy or a child? No, of course not. Fuck no. Of course you wouldn't. You wouldn't do those things even when you're angry. You would never do those things except by the purest accident, right? Like when your adorable puppy decides to try running downstairs after you and trips and falls the rest of the way into your feet, and you get all tangled up and you try to balance yourself and you end up kicking it down the rest of the stairs in your efforts to not break your neck. And instead you sprain a wrist grabbing for the handrail. Kind of specific, but yeah, that kind of accident, right? Excellent. So we're all on the same page. Wouldn't kick a puppy, wouldn't punch a child, because we don't want to. We don't ever want to, because that is wrong. All in agreement here? Of course we are, because like I said, you're my kind of people. So here's the next question. And I'm going to put this one up on the screen. Would you hurt someone you love with your words? Think about that. Does that give you the same reaction, that revulsion deep in your gut, that the idea of kicking a puppy or hitting a child does? Probably not. Yeah. Cookie says, yes, I would hurt somebody I love with my words. So, in the intellectual boundaries chapter of Boundaries Are Sexy as Fuck, I talk about dismissal and disrespect of being two ways of intellectually bullying someone else. So, there's another question. Would you dismiss or disrespect someone you love? Kaki is saying, I use my words to manipulate. Lots of people do. It's not nice, but I must be honest. Absolutely. Absolutely. Or let's talk a little bit about emotional boundaries. Would you invalidate the feelings of someone you love? Would you use their words against them? Would you dump your troubles on them? Would you pressure them to talk about their feelings even when they weren't ready? Have you? I have. Absolutely, I have. And let's be honest here. 100% brutally honest. I'll be honest with you, you be honest with me, or actually be honest with yourself, because I already know the answer. When you did those things, Did you want to? You did. I did too. Because when I was hurting, I wanted them to hurt. I admit it now because I didn't want to hurt in the argument or the row all alone. Because if I could hurt them, I knew they cared. And because frankly, if they hurt me, I felt they deserved it. It's a pretty cringy moment when you realize that you've hurt people you love intentionally in many of the same ways that you've been hurt. And it's definitely an aha to see how hurt people when it's you. Sir Thomas says, "My father taught me not to say hurtful things as it will come back to you years later. Sometimes it won't even take years, for sure. Best to walk away and come back later." And then, when I was young and dumb, yes. And Kaki says, "But I would use it to protect myself." Yeah. But here's the thing. Is it really protection to hurt somebody else? Or is it just spiteful? Is it just getting even? Because you've already been hurt. The time for protection is gone, right? Because I would be feeling attacked and pushed over my boundaries. Sure, but you don't need to hurt people in order to assert your boundaries. You don't need to hurt people in order to protect yourself. At least not in most relationship cases, right? So I had this conversation with a friend of mine who was a bad guy, biker dude. He's 27 years clean, sober, and about how we all do things we don't want to do. And he had done horrible things and said he didn't want to do those things. And I pointed out that as much as he didn't want to do them, he wanted to do those things more than he wanted to not do them. So when it comes right down to it, we will do the things that we want to do, right? So here's the thing. Understanding that hurt people. For me, it led to two things: more compassion for others, and also setting a boundary for myself. So I have more compassion for people to lash out because I finally really understood it. Even if they took it further than I would, or maybe hurt me in ways that I would never hurt them, I got it. And by getting it, by actually seeing what was happening, I knew that hurting someone I love is 100% wrong, and there's no reason to ever do it. I don't want that kind of energy in my relationships, ever. So I set that boundary. And while I will This is one boundary I truly believe will improve every single person's life. So, if you dare to make the commitment, say this with me, read it out loud. Hurting someone I love is 100% wrong, and there is no reason to ever do it. I don't want that kind of relationship energy ever. I don't ever want to get in a battle with someone I love of hurt and be hurt, or control and be controlled. You with me on this one? Yeah. Here's the thing though. You're human, right? You're not perfect. Neither am I. You'll sometimes want to see someone you love hurt the way that you are hurting, deeply and instinctually. It will sometimes slip out. It does for me too, although it's rare, maybe once in a blue moon now. And in the future, when it does, notice it. Be horrified enough to really let it sink in. Then remember that effort to change matters. And forgive yourself. Maybe remind yourself that there is no reason ever to emotionally attack someone, to cause them pain, just because you are hurting. Just like there's no reason to ever cheat, abuse animals, abuse children, abuse people, rape, and so on. And so I never have, not on purpose, on purpose. I've said some hateful things, not with a conscious intent to hurt, but definitely with a subconscious intent to. And because I realized that was wrong for me, I do that much less often as well. Mistakes will happen. There is no way that you can avoid hurting people accidentally through misunderstandings or thoughtlessness or just being you. Even setting your boundaries will hurt people in your life. I was just having a conversation with somebody I absolutely adore earlier today, and they set a boundary in their life, and their friend acted like they had taken something away from them, when really they had just said, I can't give you this part of me anymore. And their friend felt betrayed. It wasn't done to hurt. It was done to actually protect themselves and to make sure that they were able to give what was important to the people that it was important to. So you're not going to be able to not ever hurt someone. Just because it'll happen by mistake, though, doesn't mean it's not worth doing everything in your power to not do it, right? It's about doing your best. Because when you set the boundary of not allowing people to hurt you on purpose by dismissing or disrespecting you, by invalidating your feelings, by turning your words against you, by dumping on you, by pressuring you, the absolute best way of backing up that boundary when you need to enforce it is by refusing to do those things to them. Living by example. Sir Thomas says, it's all about how someone's been raised as a child. You know what's interesting, though, is it's not just about childhood. It's also about how once we get out into the world as young adults and adults, how we are hurt and traumatized and molded and shaped by our experiences, like including my abusive marriage, right? As a child, I had a wonderfully amazing life. And then I got into this marriage and I did not have the tools I needed to recognize what was happening and to armor myself against it, to get out of it any quicker than I did, or to set and maintain healthy boundaries. So, trauma can happen at any point in life, at any age. And I think that's important to recognize because some people will feel like, oh, I'm an adult. It shouldn't bother me as much. But it does. It does. So here's the thing, living by example. The best way to back up a boundary is by refusing to return the unkindness, right? Look here now. Let's be practical, Heather. Okay, let's. Because I've had this conversation a lot over the years, and I've had plenty of objections. So let's talk about that and my replies. Some people say, words can only hurt with the power you give them. What do you think about that one? Sticks and stones will break my bones and words will never hurt me. Bullshit. Bullshit. That is like grade A crap. And it's easier for people to justify emotional attacks than physical ones, right? When you see somebody raise their hand to somebody else in anger, it's obvious. And if they hit them, it's probably going to leave a mark. When you see somebody raise their voice to somebody in anger, none of my business, doesn't matter. People do that all the time. It just came out in the heat of the moment. I didn't mean it that way. Everyone loses control sometimes. That sound familiar to you? And those marks stay. I was talking with somebody the other day about an abusive relationship and how I've had a lot of physical trauma in my life. And the things that stick with me the most are the words, the harmful, hurtful words. Those are the things that traumatize me. I can heal. My body can heal. But my mind will hold on to the things that are said about me, that especially the things that I am worried might be true, and won't let those go. And that creates a bruise or a scar or a wound that you can't see, but it takes a lot to heal. Right? I mean, I'm betting you've been like accidentally elbowed in the eye once or twice, right? And you've gotten a shiner from it. Or you've had your foot stepped on and it hurt for a few days. Or you ran into someone and knocked heads and both got a bit bruised. And I am betting that you've probably had dozens of those and you barely remember those physical things, and almost never until I just brought them up. I'm also betting 100% sure that you can remember something hurtful someone you love has said to you during an argument that cut you deeply, that you can feel the weight and the shape of that pain as if it just happened. And you can probably catalog quite a few if you think about them, and even prioritize them and list them out by how much they hurt. Sticks and stones break bones. Words break hearts and minds and lives, especially when they come from someone you love. Roger says, my wife cheated. My tongue was worse than a sword. I lashed out and hurt her very deeply. And yes, I justified it for years. She hurt me, but I wish I hadn't reacted that way. That's beautiful. Hey, Cobalt. Good to see you. Always a pleasure. So I had somebody say to me once, I've never wanted to kick a puppy, but I sure as shit wanted to kick the crap out of my dog this morning when I was picking up the trash from all over the floor that he'd gotten into. Whew, I feel you. Although I've never had children, I've had more than most people's fair share of puppies and dogs and cats, snakes and chinchillas. And sometimes they do something that just works your last nerve, right? I mean, I've fantasized about doing some really horrible, wicked things to puppies, like when they've just been outside 47 seconds ago and then they squat for a poo in their crate and then walk in it, getting it all over their bedding before you can clean it up again for the third time this morning. But did I really, really want to drop kick that sweet little devil in disguise into the Atlantic Ocean? No. And neither do you. Kaki mentioned earlier, defending himself. Somebody said to me, I will defend myself if I am verbally attacked, and I am damn good at it. And yes, I would be doing it to hurt the other person. And it would be because I am feeling hurt. It would be a conscious but fleeting thought. I would feel bad about it afterwards. But that wouldn't stop me from doing it again on purpose if defending myself. If I am pushed, I will defend myself and I will win. Ouch. That sounds like not just hurt, but evisceration. That is absolutely your right to make that choice for yourself, though. I would personally offer you as much compassion as possible while setting my own boundary and being clear that I will never hurt you on purpose. And if it continued to happen and I didn't see obvious effort towards growth and being better in our relationship, I would end it. Because like I said, I don't want that kind of energy in my life. And I would suggest that if that's your perspective, that you consider whether you want to have relationships where protecting yourself from verbal attack is a higher priority than doing what you feel and know is right. I've hurt people by being tired and a bit less patient or careful. I mean, those are good reasons. I offer compassion when I set my own boundaries. It's a good reason, but it's not an excuse. It does not excuse the behavior. And there is a vast difference between something I say being taken in a way I didn't intend because I was a bit less patient or careful with my words, and me saying something nasty because I'm tired or because I want to lash out. As a parent, I have a 100% ban on physical discipline, not simply because I think it's wrong, but because I don't trust myself to use even the smallest spank correctly. And I have made a deep promise to myself to never see the look of fear in my child's eyes that I grew up with in mine. I get that. My parents were the same. No physical punishment at all. I was grounded instead. Would have rather been spanked. My grandparents did that, so I know what it's like. And so I guess that being grounded was probably the most effective punishment for me. That aside, maybe consider trying this on for size. I do everything in my power to not hurt people I love in any way. I promise myself to never see the look of pain in my loved one's eyes that I know often shines in mine. Not just the physical pain, but the emotional pain. Because both leave wounds, right? How does that feel? Someone else said, when a misunderstanding crops up, it's natural to retaliate or to lash out. It's human nature. Right, because at some point we think it's okay to hurt someone, even someone we love, if they hurt us and we want to, or we wouldn't do it. Cobalt says, my ex and I used to joke that babies are cute, so parents don't toss them out the window. Oh, yeah. In fact, sometimes I joke with my partner that it's a good thing he's so cute. I don't necessarily say I'd toss him out the window, but I've been inventive at some of the things I've threatened. I have hurt people when I believed that everyone hated me. Therefore, I believed I couldn't hurt them. Learning how wrong I was deeply humbling and led to a commitment to never again do that. That's a really good point. Lashing out and thinking that I can do whatever because nobody really cares anyway. Yay, Roger. Let's see. Okay, where are we now? Okay. Do you allow people you love to hurt you? Right? Because we're talking about your boundaries. So, do you allow people you love to hurt you? What do you think? Maybe as long as they don't mean it? Or only when they're tired and cranky? I get it. I mean, there are times when I've been short-tempered with my partner and a few minutes later said, oh, shit. Sorry, my day's been rough and I'm not being as kind in this conversation as I'd like to be. I'm present and I'm aware of that now and I can talk like a human. Or I've been called on it before and I immediately said, oh, shit, damn, you're right. I'm sorry. It happens. Humans are going to human, right? It doesn't happen all the time. It's not a regular occurrence, which means that in my relationship, there's a lot of grace, a lot of love and compassion, because it so rarely happens. And we both know that the other is not intentionally being unkind. So, do people in your life dismiss you, disrespect you, invalidate you, turn your words against you, dump on you, and or pressure you? And if so, what makes that okay? What excuses do you make for them or allow them to make? which Cobalt just says, I feel like allow suggests permission, and I don't give permission to hurt me, so it becomes a let's figure out how to avoid this experience. So the first time somebody does that, you are absolutely not allowing them. I would question whether or not you might be allowing them if you don't set your boundary, if you don't communicate it, and if there aren't consequences. So I was writing today about the idea of, can we consent to things that are harmful? And I say, yes, we absolutely can. And we can consent, even though it's not a good thing, to people abusing us and mistreating us. So let's turn this around, because, we just talked about what excuses do you make for others. So we're going to go back to when, and I'm asking you this, when is it okay to hurt someone you love? That's really the question you have to ask yourself. And maybe even get a bit more detailed. Like, what makes it okay to be dismissive towards someone you love? When is it right to disrespect someone you're in a relationship with? Why would you invalidate the feelings of someone you care for? When is it not as hurtful to use your friend's vulnerable words against them? What makes it okay to dump your emotional burden on your partner? When is it right to pressure someone to speak, even when they aren't ready? It's never okay. Absolutely. And as I note in Boundaries Are Sexy as Fuck, in the Boundaries and Ethics chapter, how you allow people to treat you and how you treat others are two sides of the same coin. And it's always worth examining both sides. Now, I have asked this question before, and I'm going to ask it again and put it up there on the screen. What might be possible in your relationships if you knew that your partner would never, ever want to hurt you, even when they are hurt? They would never want to lash out at you or call you names or turn your words against you. What might be possible? And again, because I think it's always important to look at this from both sides, what do you think might change in your relationships if your partner knew without a shadow of a doubt that you would never, ever want to hurt them, wouldn't lash out at them, call them names, or turn their words against them? Think about it. Think about what that kind of relationship might feel like to you. Two people knowing that they would never, ever want to hurt the other, and that they would never, ever intentionally be hurt by the other. Hmm? Yeah. My problem has always been when I'm challenged or hurt, it's not to make a matter of winning or losing, and I hate to lose. It's not okay to hurt someone, but when mad or upset, it's hard to stop. Okay, so yeah, let's look at that. Um, you don't have to lose. It can be win or lose. It's all about how you are constructing the challenge. Is the challenge you versus your partner? Or is the challenge you and your partner versus? And if you can make it you and your partner versus the problem, then you can both win without making it about hurting each other or harming each other. Cobalt says, I'm discovering that as my bestie and I take your workshop, I'm really starting to love the person I'm becoming, and I definitely like who he's becoming. Thank you. Thank you. I hope that continues to be true. I hope you continue to improve. I hope you continue. Whew, my hair's all over the place today. I hope you continue, right? I hope you, I can feel it right there. There we go. I hope you, well, that really, like, I hope you continue to find value. I'm excited about this workshop, and I love this book, and I'm passionate about all of this. And I love being able to do this with and for all of you. I really do. And I've got more to come, and I'm super excited about all of that. So may I use that in something? I don't know what yet, but just may I use that. Also, okay, OT, off topic, but that's a gorgeous necklace. Thank you. This is, I bought this for myself for my 35th birthday. So I've had it for just over 14 years now, and I still love it. Thank you. The goat. What? Okay, y'all. Do we have any questions about the topic today? I'm going to real quick put in the link to the workshop again. Put that up right here, right there. That'll take you to the workshop. It's already in progress, but you can start and work your way through it with everyone else. And by joining that workshop, which is, it's right now it's at $27, but you get to choose your price. So you can choose as low as $7 or as high as $27, which is between $1 and $4 per week of the 7-week workshop. And you also get access to the live write of the Boundaries Are Sexy, or Boundaries Are Sexy as Fuck book, working title, that I am posting chapter by chapter. And so you'll get to actually dig down in and learn more. Plus, you will get access to every single one of these video replays, which I'm leaving up, I think, like 4 weeks of video replays on YouTube at a time. And then we're taking them down off of YouTube for the public, and we are leaving them up in our workshop and live write. So if you've missed some of these, or if you want to go back for some of them, that's going to be the best way to maintain your access to those. And especially as we continue, I just yesterday set up my let's see, where is it? I set up the topics that I'm going to be doing for between now and December 8th, because December 12th, I have surgery and I'm not sure what the month of December is going to hold for me. So I'm going to be really careful about scheduling too much in December and January, because I've got two major surgeries, the 12th and the 28th. And so I've been told to keep myself not too overcommitted. But between now and December 8th, we have this Thursday, the reschedule of covert contracts are ruining your relationships. On the 1st of November, emotional boundaries. We're going to be talking about setting emotional boundaries. On the 3rd of November, we're going to talk about what is toxic anyway. The 8th, what is you in a relationship? The 10th, non-compromisables. What's that? The 15th, we'll be talking about setting intellectual boundaries. On the 17th, we'll be talking about you used to be so nice. Oh, the guilt. The 22nd, do you live for their acceptance? On the 24th, it's okay. It was most definitely not okay. The 29th will be the 4 stages of boundary setting. The 1st of December will be let's make a pact, communicating boundaries effectively. The 6th of December is start with no. And the 8th of December will be why didn't you take no for an answer? So Cobalt says, some conversations bring up pain that isn't caused by either person. How do you mitigate that and support the other while being honest and constructive? Ooh, that's a good question. So I actually just sort of talked about that. Have you gotten to the newest chapter, which I put up yesterday, which was, it's okay. It was most definitely not okay. And the idea is that what we usually do is we usually say, it's okay, even though we're not yet over it, right? We forgive the person, but the harm is still there. And by forgiving the person too quickly, we often don't leave ourselves room to have these conversations. So in a situation like this, you can say, right now, I'm feeling hurt, and it's not your fault. You didn't cause this. The situation is difficult and hard. And I hope you'll bear with me as I kind of work through this. And if I'm maybe a little bit more sensitive than usual or whatever. Have I heard of Meal Train? I don't think so. Okay, so if we don't have any additional questions on the specific topic, I will be wrapping today up. And again, on Thursday, we're going to be talking about covert contracts, the unspoken expectations that we have going into a relationship where we start doing things for others, believing that by doing things for them, they will then do things for us. And covert contracts will ruin every relationship that you allow them to sneak into. And we're going to be talking about that. Cobalt says, it's a website that helps organize supporting folks while ill or recovering. Oh, awesome. So I am actually having to put boundaries and limits on the people who want to support me and be around me and make sure that I'm okay while I'm recovering. And I'm having to, let them pamper me and fuss over me more than I would normally allow by a lot. And B, also let them know that sometimes they're going to have to get the fuck out of my face and go to do something else and leave me alone. So, uh, you are very welcome, Sabyasachi. Thank you so much for joining me today. Thank you to all of you, as always, for joining me today. Again, I'm Heather or Nookie, and I am currently writing my book, Boundaries Are Sexy as Fuck, working title, live. Join me and get each chapter as it's posted by registering for the Take No Shit workshop that started running last Monday, October 17th. And get yourself in there and start building your better boundaries. So, thank you again. Have an amazing and wonderful day. And hopefully, I will see you on Thursday. Bye, y'all.